decision on the bail application of Fita Khupe, who is accused in the Vlakfontein family murder case.
To applicant number 2, even though that he did not rape them. He admitted that he raped the 3 victims to applicant number 2, even though, according to him, he did not rape any of them. According to applicant number 1, he acted on instructions of applicant number 2. It is to be noted that applicant number 2, Mr. Khupe, denied all allegations leveled against him. He further denied ever instructing applicant 1 to commit any offences, nor he acted in complicit with him in the commission of these offences. Applicant 2 further denied any existence of a relationship between himself and first applicant. According to the evidence of the investigating officer, the cell phone records indicate constant communication between applicant 1 and number 2. And this communication started and continued even when applicant number 2 was in Zimbabwe. Furthermore, it is to be noted that applicant 2, Mr. Khupe, on arrival in the Republic from Zimbabwe on the 27th day of October 2018, the first person that he called was the first applicant. It is very strange to the court that Mr. Khupe, while in Zimbabwe, never communicated with his lifetime partner, Mbali Khoza. But however, he chose and kept this constant communication between applicant number 1 and himself. This is despite his claim that applicant number 1 was a stranger to him. It is further strange to the court that applicant 1 is the one who contacts applicant number 2, Mr. Khupe, to inform him that his lifetime partner went to KwaZulu-Natal to visit her ailing granny. According to applicant number 1, Mr. Khupe is the one who provided him with a murder weapon, the hammer. The murder weapon was recovered by the investigating officer. He said in his affidavit that after he arrived at the Khoza family, he was reminded by Mr. Khupe that he must not forget the purpose of his visit and what he came to do at this house. This was after he was instructed by people who reside in Cape Town that he should come and kill the Khoza family. Now, if Mr. Khupe denies knowledge of complicity in the commission of these offences, why would he remind applicant number 1 not to forget the purpose of his visit in this house? Does this not confirm the truthfulness of the fact that he is the one who provided applicant number 1 with the murder weapon? Mr. Khupe arrived in South Africa on the 27th of October 2018 in the early hours of the morning. On his arrival, 3 of the victims were already killed and buried under a heap of soil in an outside room. The other 4 victims were killed and covered with soil in one of the bedrooms, which was opposite the kitchen. Mr. Khupe was present in the country when the last 4 victims were killed. He slept in this very same house wherein the 4 dead bodies were found. Mr. Khupe woke up in the morning, took a bath, and prepared breakfast and ate. He then cleaned the kitchen after taking breakfast. This was, of course, confirmed by one of the witnesses who saw him cleaning the kitchen. It is quite very strange that despite the stench of dead bodies inside the house, Mr. Khupe was able to have breakfast and take a shower without noticing anything wrong inside this house. For according to evidence of the investigating officer, as you take a corner into the street, you could smell the stench of these decomposed bodies. Some of the neighbors had to confront applicant number 1 about this stench. Strange enough, Mr. Khupe does not smell the stench. He was able to enjoy his breakfast. According to the investigating officer, there were blood spatters on the walls. Even in Mr. Khupe's bathroom. Mr. Khupe did not see anything wrong inside his house despite the blood spatters on the walls. According to the investigating officer, there was a lot of soil which covered the 4 bodies inside one of the bedrooms inside the house. It is strange enough that Mr. Khupe did not notice anything wrong on the floor which was soiled. According to the investigating officer, investigations in this matter are still incomplete. he must still obtain statements from other outstanding witnesses. According to the investigating officer, should Mr. Khupe be admitted to bail, there is a likelihood that he might be killed by the angry members of Vlakfontein. This was corroborated by Mrs. Mloyi, the community leader who testified under oath. The evidence presented by the state clearly demonstrates that Mr. Khupe and the applicant 1 acted with a common purpose in execution of these offences. These were premeditated murders. Quite very serious crimes indeed. The state case against Mr. Khupe is quite very strong. And it remains strong. And this is despite the fact that applicant number 1 is deceased. It should be noted that applicant number 1 was not a state witness in this matter, but a co-accused. There are various methods available to the respondent through which a conviction can be secured in this instance. That the state case is very weak against Mr. Khupe is a misdirection on the part of the defense. 7 family members were killed brutally, so for no apparent reason. I have no doubt in my mind that should Mr. Khupe be admitted to bail, there is a likelihood that he might evade his trial. He is facing 7 counts of premeditated murders. He's facing 7 counts of murder, with each count carrying a prescribed minimum sentence of life imprisonment, will never serve as an incentive for him to stand his trial. Mr. Khupe is a Zimbabwean national. Although he holds a South African identity book, should he be admitted to bail and cross the border back into Zimbabwe, it will be difficult for the investigating officer to trace him. Should Mr. Khupe be admitted to bail, the outstanding witnesses will be reluctant to come forward and depose to a statement. The tenants who resided in this house are also witnesses in this matter. Their identity is known to Mr. Khupe. I therefore find that there is a likelihood that he might interfere with the witnesses in this matter. It is further evident that should Mr. Khupe be admitted to bail, there is a likelihood that his release will undermine public peace, as testified to by Mrs. Mloyi, the community leader. She testified about the anger displayed by the community in Vlakfontein and surrounding areas. This is in solidarity with what happened to innocent young children and women of the Khoza family. After consideration of the evidence in its totality, I come to the conclusion that Mr. Khupe has failed to prove exceptional circumstances, and consequent thereto, his application to be admitted to bail is dismissed. That is a concept. I don't understand. You must tell those people to keep quiet. Yeah, the remand date.
We should say the second day of April, and court number 3 in as a magistrate court. That will be for further investigation.
The matter against you is remanded until the second day of April. It will be for further investigations. You will be kept in custody. You are warned for Regional Court number 3 in Lenegia Court. Coach